He's a friend of the program. We're a friend of his. He's a former Green Beret who spent several tours of duty overseas. Long snapper for Texas, and the dream that he had to long snap in the National Football League, he's still on it, we hope. And he joins us here on the Rich Eisen Show after last night. Let's show the tweet before we bring him on. He tweeted out a photograph of him and Colin Kaepernick saying, "Thanks for the invite, brother. Good talk. Let's just keep moving forward. This is what America should be all about." He spoke with Kaepernick for 90 minutes and then was out there standing at attention, hand over heart during the national anthem next to a kneeling Colin Kaepernick last night on the sidelines of the 49ers in San Diego. He's Nate Boyer back on the program. How are you, Nate?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am doing just fine. Let's get into this talk. Did Colin reach out to you?
He did. He read the letter, and I think he was a little bit moved by it, to be honest. And he reached out to me, and had a car bring me down there to San Diego to meet up with him, and we spent about an hour and a half just chatting, and we talked about all kinds of things. And he was really interested to hear a lot about veteran issues because. And guys returning home and not receiving the care he thought that they maybe deserved. And I told him, with all that you're doing, it's maybe important to recognize those things too, so that people don't see you as just kind of one-sided. Because I know a lot of the people that are attacking you are kind of coming from a one-sided place. And he was very perceptive, man. He just wanted to listen himself, and he's a young man. He's a young man, but at the same time. He really does care about this, and he's fighting for something that he believes in, and he gave a little too. He's kind of found a middle ground here, at least for the moment, with taking a knee alongside his teammates, aside from sitting back on the bench. I told him how that may be perceived by a lot of people in the veteran community and a lot of those good police officers and people like that he does respect. And, so he made a little bit of an effort, to compromise there. And I thought that was pretty big of him.
Nate Boyer joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show, former Green Beret. How does kneeling for the national anthem improve things in the eyes of those who are in your community, in the military community? Is that viewed as something less provocative than sitting, just kneeling?
Well,
Nate?
That's going to be different for every guy. It really is. That's all how each person interprets that. For me, yes, because I thought of it in terms of even a guy coming off the sideline, during a game. He comes over and he takes a knee next to his teammates, or he goes back on his own and isolated and plops himself on the bench, kind of just this, I don't know, this sitting alone away from everything. It could be construed as more disrespectful. People take a knee to pray. So in a way there can be some honor in that, in the sense of him at least honoring the people that are fighting for that, for that right for him to protest.
Well, I was saying, Nate, that leading up to this, he should just stay in the locker room during the national anthem. Now, I know that might be viewed as maybe a provocative act towards his teammates who are, based on all of the reports I'm hearing out of San Diego, behind him and the message that he's delivering, although at this point in time, the method of it, clearly he's already realizing that the method of it is provocative and he's changing his stance literally to kneel. So I was saying maybe just stay in the locker room, because that way the message you're trying to get out doesn't get misconstrued. And when you met with him, Nate, and you said that he's a young man, did you get the sense that he's still trying to figure out everything that has happened to him since he first sat and it was noticed that he was sitting during the national anthem?
I think there's an element of that. I think that definitely it was a huge response. You know what I mean? I think it blew up a lot more than he thought it may. Mm-hmm. And without him intending on offending people, it did. It offended a lot of people, and I think it hurt him that it did that. In some ways. And so I think that's one of the reasons he reached out to me. I think he was looking for some guidance and some mentorship and some advice on the situation. How can I do this another way? And then also, how can I move this dialogue forward into some sort of action? Because that, like we talked about offline for a second, yes. That's something that has to happen. That's key, or
yes.
this thing's going to just kind of go away and it won't have the impact it was intended.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.